And in this video we're just going to go through cleaning the engine block, getting it a bit more presentable. It is relatively clean, but we're going to go through just a bit of cleaning, just so it looks nice. If you're ever looking for a good degreaser, I found this elbow grease all-purpose degreaser, solvent free. It's a really good cleaner. You can get it from like Homebase, online, and I just use a really cheap sort of dish brush to work it into all the bits, and then we'll just give it a light spray down with some water, and then we'll dry it with a towel. But yeah, this elbow grease is really good. You can get loads of different types. You can get like heavy duty things. You can get, they do cloths, floor wipes, all sorts. But I found it really good for doing engines and general degreasing. So we'll just take the lid off, put the lid to one side. So there's the lid off there, and we'll just give it a nice spray. We're not going to go too mad on any inlets, so like around the face of the carburetors, but sort of this section back, we should be alright. Obviously, don't go too mad on the electric side. We don't want to introduce water into where it shouldn't be. We'll just give it a good going over, especially around this area, around the cylinder head. We'll give that a good clean. Shouldn't take long. And with this degreaser, we'll do the cowling as well. Not so much. It just there's a few bits of dirt on it, but so we'll just get to it here. And we'll just start spraying it on. Quite generous with it. I literally bought this bottle just for this job, so I'm not too bothered. Now on this engine we do have sort of like an intake, so the intake's around this side here. The air comes round, it's like just like an air box. So you can't really get any of this degreaser into the engine. As you can see, I mean it's pretty clean to start with, but we're just getting the places that we can't really get to. Right here and down, and the fuel filter. It's more the cylinder head. Around here, it's got that salt buildup on it. I know I said be careful with the electrics, but I mean, it is all waterproof, it's all sealed, but we don't want any open joints sort of like here. We don't want to get too much on there, but they are pretty well bomb proof, these engines. So we'll let that soak in for a bit, and then we'll get the brush out and we'll give it a little scrub. I'm just doing the lower section as well, mid-section, gear case. A bit more aggressive on here because obviously it's just metal work and plastic. But inside the engine, on the engine block itself, we're just going to use the soft brush. On the outside, you can use anything you want really. Just give the engine a good coat, and that should be it. So, like I say, we'll just let all that soak in now, and then we'll come back to it in say 5 minutes. So let it soak for a bit, and now with this soft brush, we're just going to go over, so work from the top. And what we're doing, we're just loosening any grime that's built up. We don't have to go too mad with this engine. It is pretty clean, but this little brush, it really does help us get to places that we can't usually get to. Right down in there, right down by the exhaust jacket. So you get the idea. So we'll cut back to once I've finished doing all this, and then we'll give it a light spray down. So I've given it a good scrub, and now I'll just take the garden hose. I've done the lower unit, the case, and the cowling there as well, and we'll just give it a light spray off just to get rid of all that gunk. You can see quite a bit of it that I've taken off. Obviously the rusty bits, we're not going to get the rusty bits cleaner, but And I suppose you could touch up the paint, but the engine's of such an age now that it doesn't really matter. So we'll give it a spray down now. Yeah, I'll do the lower unit first. See all that grime coming off. Pretty satisfying. Thing is, with outboards like this, it's probably the first time it's ever had a freshwater wash in years. They just sit on boats and marinas. Occasionally get taken ashore, put in the earmuffs and flush through with fresh water, but it's quite nice to see all the dirt coming off. Looks years younger now. The same with the power head here. We're just going to give it a quick light spray. Literally just getting the dirt off, and we'll let that air dry for a bit and towel the worst bits, and you can see how black that water is in there. Just come around this side. So we'll just drain all that water out now, but it already looks 1,000 times better. Let that air dry in the heat, towel it off. We're not going to start it because it probably won't start in this condition with the amount of water that's on some of the parts, but we'll give it half an hour and it'll be fine. I've done this loads over the years and I've never had an issue yet with an engine that won't start. Obviously, if you're getting water into the fuel, then yeah, you're going to have issues. But what you can do is you can just drain out here. There's a drain for the carb. But let's say with this is an air box, it's sealed, so this won't do it any harm at all. I mean, you can see the quality of the metal work. It's coming up a treat. It's already quite shiny, so I'm quite happy with that. So there we go. It's draining away. There's a little drain hole down there which is blocked with some debris. Now I've unblocked it. Drain away quite nicely. And we can see the difference in the block. It looks pretty much brand new, the engine, all things considered. Yeah, very happy with the outcome of that, and that degreaser works wonders. So if you ever want to clean your boat or engine, use that elbow grease. It's really good stuff. I don't know if I mentioned this, but another note of curiosity I've found on this engine is an engine starting procedure for engines with carbureted drain valves. Now it sounds like these instructions are the engine was flooded, submerged, rolled. You notice down here it says RNLI, so 1994 ties in with the engine's age. So I'm wondering if this is an ex-RNLI engine, considering how clean it is. It's also got something to do with the RNLI. With that stuck there, it looks too well stuck on for someone just to have printed that off and stuck it on. I mean, why would you do that if you flood the engine? You wouldn't have it on the cowling. So I'm thinking this is, I mean, it might be wrong, but it's irrelevant now. An ex-RNLI engine. I think they did use Mariners. It's a short shaft tiller. Makes sense.